What a world, DigiDread on the mic. And guys, I've been cooking in the lab for probably about a good month with this deck, Yellow Vaccine, and I'm very proud to present to you the actual deck profile. One thing I want to just highlight though, this is a control variant, so we're talking mid-range to late game variant. So the reason why I've gone this general direction is because I have a lot of aggro decks. If I want to play an aggro deck, I'd just go play flipping Red Hybrid or Armors or anything that basically specializes in that. Where I found that Yellow Vaccine, building in more of a control style is just a lot more fun to me, and control is not usually a place that I usually like to kind of go down, but Yellow Vaccine, I'm definitely liking what it provides. So if this is a video for you as I go through my tech, strats and all that good stuff, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications bell because I do videos on the reg. Right, let's dive straight on into the egg ratios. We do run a solid 4, and that is going to be your Kairamon. So the thing that's really important with this is the actual effect and the phrasing itself, because even though it enables you to grant jamming if something is removed from your security stack, what it says here is that one of your Digimon gains jamming. So you don't necessarily have to apply this to your main stack. So if you do have a wide board and you want to give one of your Digimon that doesn't have an egg underneath it jamming, you can do so with this if you've obviously met the condition of removing something from your security stack, which definitely lines up a lot of plays and a lot of cool strats that you can do. So you're not just limited to your main stack, you can delegate this to other stacks if needs be. So this is why I like Kairamon. It's a very strong egg, and yeah, it's an easy condition to meet within the Yellow Vaccine archetype. Going on to the rookies, we run 11. The reason why we run 11 is because I've stress tested this enough, and I feel and think that you can actually just lower the ratios down because we have ways to access our essentially our second hand, which is all security, with various cards, and 9 times out of 10 the main card that you want is the new BT14 Paramon, which you already know that we run that bad boy at a solid 4 of. Then we go in with a one that I feel like no one's using this at all, and I find it a bit strange. Why? Because the additional memory gain that you can get from it is pretty sick. And it is just going to be the starter deck Paramon. Like, it's so good in terms of if you manage to reduce an opponent's DP to 0, gain a memory, that happens a lot in this deck. So why not leverage that? And obviously if this is your second stack, you can fully utilize that and gain more memory. This deck doesn't struggle to gain memory once it is fully established. And then obviously we do run the Kunmon because it is the best searcher for Yellow Vaccine. Netting 2 cards is always the worth right there. Very important. The reason why I've actually put it to 3 is just because realistically we just kind of want to just trigger its on plays. We don't necessarily want this card in the raising area. If we have to, we have to. But 9 times out of 10, you do want to be throwing this out. And one reason why I've increased the Patamon ratio is because we do run the Messenger of Hope, which effectively, if it is in security, in its prop from security, we want to be able to essentially get its security effect of able to play a Patamon from hand or trash. The more Patamons we have, the more we can actually utilize that and get a bit more board presence. And then we do run the 2 Pillarmon just to kind of round it off. The Pillarmon obviously there is to prevent cards being played by effects, which is quite massive in this format, so definitely do want to be seeing this. This is obviously once again that tool just to kind of stop those key plays happening from the opponent, especially from like Feralugmon, Digipolice, all that stuff which obviously is spawning. Obviously next format we do have a Anubismon, which is still at full power until March. So Pillarmon is definitely going to be crucial for that, but let's just kind of talk about the main card that you want to be seeing, and that is going to be your BT14 Paramon. It's just such a freaking power play card, is because start main, when you push out, you're able to search your secure attack and then evo into a vaccine type card, which just works perfectly. Obviously it's got to be the champion, You can't just, you know, warp into Seraphimon happy days. But the thing that's good is that it actually triggers its own inheritable, is that when a card is added to your security stack, then gain 1 memory. Because when you've triggered this, when you've evoed by this effect, the start of main, you're able to put a vaccine card at the bottom of your security stack. So once again, you're kind of stacking up your security ready for your messenger of hope or emissary, emissary of hope, to actually kind of utilize that card to kind of climb up your evo line quickly and efficiently. So 9 times out of 10, you start in hand. If you can just get this, boom, you're cooking on gas. If you do get a Patamon, that's also a great Patamon to have in there, because we do run cards that effectively do minus DP effects, especially on our champions there as well. So leveraging that, obviously handy. So yeah, that rounds up for the rookies. Very solid lineup. I think people probably do need to explore the start deck Patamon. In all honesty, it does work quite nicely. Going on to the champions. So the champions right here, you know, it's going to be obviously your solid 10 as standard. So let's reel them out. So we do go in with the 4 BT14 Angemon Secret Rare Alt Art Standard. Really powerful card what it does. And because obviously we do run a high plethora of Patamon, it means that it's actually cost effective for us to evo into it, because if we don't have a Patamon, it is going to be costing us 3. If we do, it's costing us 2. 2 is the absolute value, but it's when attacking is rather interesting, because we have that flexibility of deleting this Digimon and either putting the opponent's virus Digimon at the bottom of their security stack. So that's obviously just, it's not conditional to level. Very powerful, and always kind of flexible given which format. If we do have a heavy virus format, then Angemon's going to be coming in and, you know, being absolutely clutch. But then the other effect is able to minus 5k DP off one of your opponent's Digimon, which is beautiful. And its on deletion is that we're able to put this card at the bottom of security, and then if we have a Tamer in play, we're able to then hatch an egg, which once again just really speeds up our game plan. Can get a little bit offensive whilst recovering our stack there, setting up any future emissary plays there too. So very solid in what it does. Its on deletion as well is kind of a recovery effect when in terms of its inheritable, because we were able to place 1 yellow vaccine card from your hand to the bottom of our security. Really works quite well with Shadow Seraphimon, because effectively if that would happen to die, that obviously clears out the opponent's Digimon, giving that a rapid minus effect right there. And the fact that we can actually order the on deletion, so effectively we can trigger this on deletion to then put a security card there, and a yellow vaccine card obviously in the stack, and then we can do the recover one on Seraphimon, which then boosts us up his threshold in regards to him deleting a body, because effectively that's added to him an additional 8k on top of how many security I already had prior to the effect, which is huge. Enough of me gushing over that card. We do go in with the Rapimon. We do run that at a solid 3. We do run the hybrid, which definitely is helpful in this deck, because we do run a plethora of Tamers. So hybrid for game, very prevalent. And then we do run the high roll Geo Grey BT13 right there. So let's just go over Rapidmon. Rapidmon is such a powerful card if you get it off Emissary. Very strong, because naturally this would cost us 4 to evo, which is pretty expensive. Lucky enough we do have that starter deck Patamon, so if we did manage to minus DP one of them, it would only cost us 3, which is absolutely fine. But getting it off of Emissary or getting it off of the Patamon start of main effect from BT14, this is just so much value as well. Depending on obviously how many Tamers you have out, you can suspend a Digimon per Tamer you have in play. Massive, because we are spawning out a lot of Tamers. That's what we want to be doing in this rendition of the build. This is absolutely flawless. Honestly, I did run this at 4 at one point and it was fantastic. Even so, but I think 4-3 is definitely worth. If you can get this in your security stack and you can get your Emissary or your Patamon effects off, it's a very, very powerful control card right there. Then Geo Grey is just, once again, obviously restricted to 1. Very powerful in what it does, because we're able to search our security stack, and then we're able to play a yellow tamer from there, so we're able to get our TKs out. If we do manage to get our good old BT1 TK, then effectively we are searching our security twice, we are recovering there as well. It's very powerful in what it can do and how it can really get some good tamer establishment up. It is very high rolly, but I think for the one-off it does work pretty well. Also, it's inheritable, actually does come up, it actually does proc, because we do suspend our tamers. So when we do suspend one of our tamers, we do minus 3000 DP to one of the opponents. Oh no, we're able to delete a 3000 DP or less Digimon, which is pretty easy to once again achieve, because we do minus DP fairly frequent in this deck. But that concludes for the champions. Let's go over to the ultimates. So ultimates, we do run a solid 8, and it has to be such a powerful card here. We're going in with the Magnet Angie Ace at 4. Then we go with the BT2 Rise at 2, and then we go with the X Antibody version BT9 at 2 there as well. So let's go over this bad boy. This bad boy is, once again, strong, because the fact that we can play it for 4 and recover 1, and then minus DP depending on what our security is. Obviously, if we are above 6, we can't recover anymore, but if we're at 5, this Magnet Angie can actually recover 1. So effectively the highest DP that is going to do is 6k. Depending on, obviously, when you get to your top end, you're just really building up your security stack, then this just becomes an absolute freaking nuke at that point. Very, very strong card right here. Obviously, we've got to watch out for that overflow though, because that can be pretty awful when that when that does happen, and we do get pushed off the board or deleted, because we do basically lose free memory. But the thing that we need to highlight is that the interaction between BT14 TK makes this card even cheaper, because you are recovering, which then you can trigger your TKs, which then effectively reduces the cost, the play cost of this in essence, which makes it incredibly cheap for you to kind of go into your mega, which depending on which mega you can do, which mega you go into, you can either stall a bit more, you can go into Venusmon, and that just locks the board down completely. It's a menace. It's a menace, and I always want to have this in hand. Just a nice little fail-safe if you manage to get for your emissary, cooking on gas. It's just great. And obviously, if we do have wisdoms, even cheaper to go into. If we did go into it, it would only cost us 3. So very, very cheap card to go into, and very strong in what it does. So going on to then the Rise package here. So before, I wasn't really necessarily keen on the Rise package. I was trying so many different freaking packages you wouldn't even believe. Angemon package, just the normal Magnet Angie from EX1, very solid Evo to go into, just because it does have an inheritable to gain memory if you've managed to put something in your security stack, which is quite nice. But I feel kind of set on this at the moment. The reason why is because effectively we do want to be getting our tamer cards out on field, and we have that flexibility of either choosing to get more out on field, thus though losing one of the actual on-play effects if we do manage to get into your BT2 Rise, because we can't get the on-play effects off those, but then if we Evo into Rise X Antibody, we do get that on-play of that, or just jumping straight into this and just getting the on-play from there, which effectively is going to be reducing the cost of that. So effectively it would cost us 3, depending on obviously which tamer you do play out. But the main thing is obviously spawning out those tamers in order to get the inheritable live for our BT2 is that when we do have 3 or more tamers out on field, we do get an additional security check, which once again, when we are kind of going to our Seraphimons, our top end, it does apply a lot of pressure, which we do want, especially for this control build. That's where we do get our main bit of aggro from, not necessarily so much from our low end, but our low end can still pack a bit of a punch right there too. With the Rise X Antibody, we do have that option if we do Evo on top of the normal Rise, is that we're able to do some cheeky minus DPing, which is great depending on how many tamers we do have out in field, which are either red or yellow. And then as well, we do get some DP gains there too, obviously depending on what our what our board's looking like tamer wise. So really solid. The reason why I've not kind of gone full drip on this is because they do kind of get replaced in the upcoming BTs, and I think now that we're going to get EX6, I'm suspecting that there's probably going to be a different Magna Angie or more Angel support that could obviously fill in that, but I think this is definitely a nice solid staple. We do get the Angie Woman Ace there as well, so it might be that we go full ace on the level 5s, which is a little bit risky, but once again it just gives that nice bit of control in order for us to just, you know, stop the opponent kind of popping off and us to kind of get to our top end, for us to stall out and gain advantage that way. So speaking of the top end, the top end is very flexible in what you can do with this deck, because vaccine is just it's just a trait in itself. So there's a lot of vaccine types here, but I think the key ones to make this deck function is going to be something like this. So we go in with the free BT14 Seraphimons, because this is going to be your main recovery facilitator, as well as your kind of control element there, due to the all turns able to minus 7k DP if I'm able to recover or add a card to my security stack, which can happen, especially if you do proc a for example, like a TK. In that sense, if you proc a TK and then I recover one, then I'll be able to trigger this, which is all turn, so it can happen on my turn, it can happen on the opponent's turn, which can be quite detrimental right there. And then obviously that additional security tag is where the main aggression comes from. But then we go in with the Venusmon. Venusmon is a freaking mint. I hate this card when it's played out, because it can just shut down so much in terms of play, strats, all the source, because it gives a blanket effect of a minus security attack by 1. But if Digimon has any form of security modifier, they can't trigger their when digivolving or when attacking effect, which is pretty massive in this format, because most things do when attacking or when digivolving, and that can literally just shut them out from doing a lot of things. Definitely run Venusmon at 2. You can, yeah, this can just win your games. Then we do run the 1 Shadow Seraph. Shadow Seraph works quite well. Obviously, if you do Evo on top of your Seraphimon. The reason why I've actually knocked this down to 1 is because it is good, but sometimes it can be a bit finicky to work with, and not always like the right play that I want to do when I need it. in that sense, as well, it is out of archetype, so it is a virus type, ironically, which is a little bit annoying. So this is the reason why I've knocked it down to 1. We can get it off our TK, BT1, because it got yellow in it, so I can just grab that. That's not a problem. And it does come in use because it can, on an opponent's turn, if an opponent checks my security, I can literally digivolve it by 1, and then the security, and then the actual battle happens. Being the thing here is the interaction of that. So when they check, it's revealed, they digivolve, then the battle commences. It's interruptive, and if it's not, drop me in the comments, but that is how I've always seen it. It is interruptive, and that's why it's freaking a menace right there. And it's on deletion, very powerful. It does recover 1, and then you're able to basically minus DP by 4,000 per card in your security stack. It's just a nuke. You're just pretty much done. Other one that's not going to be impactful is if you're literally looking at 1 security or no security. But depending on obviously your stack, if you do have the BT14 Angemon, effectively you're going to be recovering 2. So that's going to be minus 8k, which can be once again quite detrimental right there. Lastly, it has got to be your rune mode. With this maximum control. It's crazy how this card is needed for the deck. To be honest, like before I ran it without this, and it just was not slapping at all. It was a struggle. It was a struggle. Just having this nice bit of control at the top end is just the absolute value. because what we can do, we can evo into this for the cost of 5. If we do have a wisdom train now, it's only going to cost us 3, which is pretty huge. And then when digivolving and on deletion, being 2 key things with this, is that until the end of your opponent's turn, next turn, all your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5,000 DP. So if you manage to, say you've stood out with your Venus Mom, they can't really do anything, pass it back to your turn, you use your physical training, so not wisdom training, and then evo into this for free, still your turn because you got your memory set out. You then go into an attack, because you've triggered the when digivolving, and you've minus 5k DP already. Then the end of attack is that you're able to delete this Digimon, and this is mandatory. You have to delete. It's not you may delete this Digimon, delete this Digimon, and then you're able to recover one. Then if you have a Tamer in play, hatch a Digi-Egg into an empty space. Value. And because obviously this Digimon's deleted, then you're able to then minus another 5k, meaning that's a 10k blanket effect when the opponent is past the opponent's turn, which they just can't do anything. If they push out or anything, if they're not over 10k, they're dead. It's crazy what this card can do. Massive amount of control, and this is how I've built this deck. Is all about that kind of control element, not so much the aggro element, just because, like I say, if I want to play an aggro deck, I wouldn't play this deck. I just would not play this deck if I want to go aggro. But that concludes for the Digimon. So going on to the options and tamers. So let's start off with the options. Options you probably already know. So it's going to be your 4 emissary, and then your 3 physical trainings. Finally got it right, guys. Finally got it right. I kept saying wisdom training. I don't know why this is definitely not wisdom. You got to be smart to play yellow. So this menace, like, honestly, so freaking crap. Insecurity, out of security, in my bed, excuse me. Yeah, it's nuts, because for the play cost of 1, able to search your security stack, one of your Digimon may digivolve into a yellow level 6 or lower Digimon card with vaccine in its traits amongst them without paying its cost. So absolutely huge. If you're going into your level 6s and you go use an emissary, that's just huge value right there. Because our top end Evo wise is pretty expensive of how to get in there, but with this, not a problem, and huge tempo. Then if you digivolve by this effect and you have a tamer with TK in its name, recover 1. So the thing that you need to know about yellow vaccine is to know the different variations of how you recover. Because you've got now recovering like at the bottom of stack, you got normal recovery, how you would do. You got recovery in terms of playing your TK out, and you essentially recover 1, then shuffle. And then you've got this where you would shuffle and then recover 1. So definitely make sure you get yourself familiarized with the amount of ways you have to recover, because there's so many different ways that can trip you out a little bit, but very important and how you do them, because you can get rule shots out of that. Security effect is amazing, not the same as the actual main effect, but still powerful. Especially the rendition that I've built is that we are running a lot more Panemon, is that you're able to play 1 Panemon from your hand or trash without paying its cost, then add this card to hand. So the reason why I do run this at 4 is because we have got at least 6 Patamons that we can leverage to actually get this effect off, getting that board presence. Sometimes the deck does struggle with board presence, because some of the mons can be easily removed, but if they don't have an answer to it, then they are a little bit in trouble. And then for us to obviously have that Patamon, obviously 9 times out of 10 we do have a memory setter out. We can just safely go into our BT14 Angemon, and just kind of get that board presence built right there. And obviously if they delete our BT14 Angemon, we would then be able to recover 1 anyway, which is the value. So we do run that at a solid 4 of, and then physical training, not much to be said there. It's just a great way to kind of choke the opponent, reduce plays, Great for our Rapimon play if we don't have Rapimon in security, but we do have him in hand, because effectively then we can evo for the cost of 2 and get such a powerful board control effect off with just minusing DP off a free Digimon by 5k, absolutely massive, and then obviously suspending those Digimon there as well. So if they do have a wall of blockers, like obviously a Commandramon, it don't matter. It don't matter. Obviously, it does matter if we don't have any TKs out. That's rather unfortunate, but it don't matter otherwise. So very powerful in what it does. So going on to the Tamers. Tamers, you might be thinking, this is a bit quite a few Tamers you got going on here, but I'll explain why. So we do run 3 BT1 TKs, and then we do run 4 BT14 TKs. So the reason why I've actually upped this is because the actual cost of evoing is quite expensive in this deck. It is highly important for you to have a memory tamer out. This is just strong when you combine it with these, because this gives you full view of your security. Having that insight is massive in this deck, because it can control how you play. If you know that, oh, my security is either loaded with champions and not so much ultimates, I know that when I am essentially getting more draws off or playing my Kudamons, to grab more ultimates so I can actually then comfortably go up my line efficiently, instead of, and this happens a lot, is that if you don't remember what you revealed in your security, you'll just blindly play Emissary of Hope, and you'll be like, I knew there was nothing, well, I didn't know there was something there because I want to play the goddamn card. But you know what I mean? It's like you're playing, you're like, why the frick did I play it? I should have knew. But you just don't. There's so many interactions in this game that you try to calculate. Sometimes you'll just literally get a snapshot and don't take it in. So another piece of advice is, always try and remember what's in your security stack, even just some nuggets, even just like the key things that you need in order for you to not blindly play Emissary, because it does happen because there's so many variables that you're thinking about, micromanaging stuff and so forth. But having this first turn value, like, it doesn't matter if you're giving your opponent 4, having this out early is huge. You need a TK out early, because otherwise, if you do want to do Emissary, you can't do the recovery because you don't have a TK out. So you're just burning security at that point. You don't want that. You do not want that. Also, very vital for you to have the TK out for your hybrid plays. 9 times out of 10, you are going to be suspending these, but you can't suspend this. So perfect lineup for your hybrid plays. Hybrid is important. This can search out your hybrid. So if you do a reveal and you see a hybrid, you ain't got one in hand, make sure that you grab it, because hybrid for game is highly probable in this rendition of this build. Then your TK from BT14 Menace. Absolutely freaking cracked. I swear to God, this card just opens up. If you can get 2 or 3 of these out, things become free. Things become free. Even get to the point where, like, you throw this out and you just suspend these, and that's effectively either cost you 1 or 0. Maybe 0, because if you do have a BT14 Patamon in your stack, it's cost you nothing to search your security, pick a card of your pleasure, and then, you know, comment your plays right there. It's so much value what this card can provide, and yeah, nuts. Absolutely nuts. This card's never going to get old. For real, for real. But that concludes for the deck profile. There it is. Cooking on gas. It's a long video, and I don't care, because I have taken so long in practicing this deck, doing the matchups. I've been practicing against red hybrid, full gas, because thing about this deck is that sometimes if you rush it down quite early and they can't utilize their security, they lose a lot of tempo, which is unfortunate. So me testing against like just generally fast decks is just kind of helped me understand like what I need to do in terms of playing this. Like, say, never be scared to just throw this out. Like, literally that first day, if you just want to just make sure you can just climb to your freaking climb to your mega, then just throw that out. You recover 1, you've popped something possibly. If they've not, that's absolutely fine. It's a great card right here. Obviously, that overflow is going to shoot you in the back at some point, but if it's the only play you can do, then then just go with it. Just literally run with it if you have to. I think with the Angemon, like I say, you could literally flex it between just throwing maybe another Rapid Mon in. For more of the control variant. Bulkmon is a strong contender, and a lot of people do swear out Bulkmon. Like I've mentioned before, and I'm just going to say it again, I know I don't run Bulkmon, but if I do want to run an aggro style deck, I'd rather just simply run a different deck, in all honesty, because I feel like yellow's always been a very control, long, grindy deck, and it does it very well. So why not play to its strengths than trying to shoehorn something that it's not necessarily good at, or only has one card that can actually do that aggro push. We do obviously have that Seraphimon BT14, which is a very strong card. The fact that it's that all turns source is so nice for that nice bit of control, can really punish the opponent, and that's what I do like about that. Anything with a security modifier, I'm all for, and I've said that in my channel from the jump. It's the reason why I like Beelzemon, because it has a security modifier, and I've invested in that. With this, Seraphimon has a security modifier, which I'm like, okay, yeah, this is saucy, and I like how it plays. It's a very fun deck, really fun. I think in EX5, it is 5. EX5, this deck's gonna be a menace, and I think people are at the moment sleeping on it a little bit, because the new vaccine, I can never pronounce the goddamn name, something Mitamanarimon or something like that, butchered it completely, but basically what that does is that it does basically grant like a blanket kind of minus security, depending on what my security stacks are as a collective, I think, which combination with Venusmon is awful, because it's all Digimon. So if you push out and Venusmon is out with that in combined, I don't know what you're gonna do, because if you can't trigger when Digivolving effects or when attacking effects, not really that much, unless you start running options to actually nuke that card. But also that card can spawn out Digimon when Digivolving and when attacking, massive, and that's a play, and that's a level 4 or lower yellow, I wouldn't say it's yellow vaccine, or just a yellow Digimon. Huge right there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to EX5, because I feel like it's good. This deck's going to be really annoying in that format. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think to the list. Like I say, it is a control variant. I'm highlighting that now. Disclaimers and all that source. But if you like it, then smash it with a like and standard. If you enjoy the content that I produce, obviously subscribe. It does mean a lot. I know I've not hit my 1K mark, but if I can just get to 900 in less than 2 days, that would mean a lot. But guys, stay safe, stay fly. Catch you next one. D-Dread off the mic.